These are real things that you have to consider when you're homesteading. What's my investment? What's my return? What's my risk going into it? Come on to the new candy grass. Should I get sheep? What kind of sheep should I get? And when should I get them? Those are 3 questions we've had asked tons of times, and these are 3 things that we're gonna address really quick about the benefits and the experiences that we've had with sheep here at our homestead. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button because it really helps us out in giving you more information every day. We have Katahdin Hair Sheep here at the farm, and we got them within about the first year of getting our homestead. We have 7 acres of pasture space for our sheep to be on. We started off with a flock of 12 Katahdin Hair Sheep. We now have over 60 of them on the property, which is too many. I want to butcher them down here and thin them out this fall. Ideally, we want to have that 12 to 15 in that range just to keep our feed load and our grazing capacity at the right level. But we got Katahdin Hair Sheep, and the reason we did that is that they're really, really good for helping in a few different areas. They're really good foragers, number 1. Number 2, they really helped in managing or regenerating your land when it comes to overgrowth. They'll eat down the overgrowth area really well. They're kind of like a hybrid of a goat in some regards because they behave more like a sheep, but they eat more like a hybrid of a sheep and a goat. They'll browse, they'll eat leaves and branches and poison ivy and those types of things, and then they'll also eat the pasture really effectively as well. So they're really good at converting food. They're really resourceful. They're really, really resilient when it comes to mothering and lambing out their young. We have these guys 24/7 on the pasture. They stay out in the pasture year round. They don't have access even to like a legit barn. They have access to like cover and lean-tos, and they've done a great job. Most of the time they give birth to twins after the first year that they've delivered the first baby. Subsequent years after that, they'll deliver twins. So we went from a flock of 12 throughout the years over the last 5 years now, and we've grown till we've brought in a couple different rams to mix up genetics, and we've got Katahdin Hair Sheep that produce high quality, 100% grass-fed meat for us here at the farm. And we are able to store that. We have videos on how to put up different meats and can them for shelf-stable use so you're not worrying about as much freezer space. So adding them to your homesteading profile is a huge help. They help regenerate your land. They help maintain it. They get to places that mowers and machines can't get into, or at places that you don't want to tear down trees and whatnot to make open land. They also are really good at moving on different terrains. So if you have real steep embankments or stuff like that, they're good at maneuvering around that. So the Katahdin Hair Sheep for us have been a great resource. They've been fairly easy to manage. They don't require a lot of work when it comes to like trimming hooves, and they require no shearing of their wool because they shed that twice a year, kind of like a dog, because they're a hair sheep. They're not woolly sheep. They forage really well, so they're resourceful and they're just really resilient. So as far as like medical issues with them, really resilient. Don't have a lot of issues with them. As far as like upkeep and care on them, give them fresh grass, give them fresh water, and you keep them happy. They stay within the hot wire fence pretty good, as long as you don't deplete them of the fresh grass and fresh water, because any animal is going to push your fencing if you have that issue. So for us, Katahdin Hair Sheep were a go-to answer for a foraging animal that's going to be a red meat type of an animal that's going to be 100% grass-fed with no inputs into it. And it's a lot easier to manage than, you know, a steer or something like that as far as the size of the animal goes. Once again, you don't need large equipment with them either. So maybe you can use or borrow a small trailer just to move them around real quick with, but it's not like you're trying to find a big livestock trailer all the time. I think the story actually goes that I rented a U-Haul trailer and threw the first 12 in there and drove them back to our property with a rented U-Haul trailer. U-Haul probably didn't like that, but I cleaned it out and give it to them back nice and clean. So the point of it is you can do it on a budget. You can get a flock, you can get up and going. You can have them grow for you if you're patient with that process. And they're really fairly easy to maintain, and there's not a lot of work that goes into learning that curve. And the other thing is, in the event that you have to call off a couple of them to keep a healthier flock, or maybe even in the learning process you lose a couple of them because you just need to learn. You're a homesteader, probably maybe a first-time farmer, a first-time homesteader, so you don't know everything about this. We don't know everything about this. We're still learning about this. In the process, you might lose a couple. So instead of losing something that's hundreds of dollars, or even $1,000+, it's a smaller risk investment as well. So yes, these are real things that you have to consider when you're homesteading. What's my investment? What's my return? What's my risk going into it? What's the actual value that we're going to be seeing, whether it be financially or physically, when it comes to like producing food or converting feed or something like that. We're going to take this water, dump it out, and move it to where the split fence here, the horses have access to here with the sheep, and the sheep have access to over here. So we're going to give this water access to the side that they all have access to benefit everyone's needs. Always keep this hose split over here to where they can't get on it and drag it. Otherwise you will be dealing with broken water supplies all the time. So keep the hose on the other side of the fence and up against the corner where the big animals can't get into it and drag it around, because the horses and steer, they love to drag the waters around for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, Katahdin Hair Sheep, they're a great benefit. They can help out a lot at the property. They convert feed over really well, and they're not, I'm gonna say this nicely, they're not goats. I don't like goats. I'm not a goat person. They're kind of like the reason the Good Word talks about sheep versus goats. I feel like goats, from my research and the feedback I've gotten from quite a few people, is they just have a little bit more inherent problems to them. I've heard that they challenge fences more. I heard that they get worms a little bit easier. They take a little bit higher level of skill in some regards. And I'm not gonna milk goats. I'm getting them for the meat. And we personally like the flavor of our Katahdin Hair Sheep way better. So anyway, things to consider. We like the Katahdin Hair Sheep, and we hope that you look at this as a resource and that you dive into some other videos that we've got as far as some of the solutions that we've got. We have a link below too for some viable homesteading solutions that have worked for us when it comes to water, solar, and other solutions that have worked for us. We like to provide you guys with the resources, the information, and the knowledge of how to move your homesteading dream forward. We hope that you guys gain value by this. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and have a blessed day.